I stand at the podium, my fingertips tracing the cool metal edge as camera flashes burst across the room like silent fireworks. 200 faces stare back at me, waiting. The Riverside Hotel's grand ballroom has never looked more spectacular, my vision brought to life in sweeping Art Deco curves and bold geometric patterns that transform this space into something truly magnificent. The challenge wasn't just redesigning a historic landmark, I begin, my voice steady despite the flutter in my stomach. It was breathing new life into a space while honoring its soul. I'm Kylie, and this should be the proudest moment of my career. The whispers and approving nods from the city's elite tell me I've nailed it. 5 months of meticulous planning, countless sleepless nights, and now, validation. My phone buzzes in my clutch, and I know it's David. My husband never misses these moments. The text reads, "Running late, don't hold dinner, working." 2 sentences that shouldn't sting, but they do. They pierce through the golden haze of achievement like poison-tipped arrows. I slip the phone away, refusing to let my smile falter as Emma, my best friend, catches my eye from the front row. She sees right through me, as always. The integration of sustainable materials with classic aesthetics proves that luxury and responsibility can coexist, I continue. But the words taste hollow now. My gaze drifts to the empty seat beside Emma, David's seat, the one he promised to fill tonight. Marcus, my colleague, steps forward with the champagne toast we planned. To Kylie Harrison, whose vision has once again redefined what's possible in modern design. Glasses rise. Applause erupts. I should feel triumphant, but all I can think about is the growing collection of empty chairs at my presentations, the missed dinners, the cold side of the bed. Later, as the crowd mingles and networks, Emma corners me by the bar. "He's doing it again, isn't he?" "It's fine," I say, but my knuckles are white around my champagne flute. The urban development project is demanding right now. "Bullshit," Emma whispers, her eyes fierce with loyalty. "He's been busy since you landed the Peterson account, since you started making waves, since—" "Don't." I cut her off, because deep down, I know she's right. Success tastes different when your partner can't stomach it. My phone buzzes again. This time it's an email from David's office account, accidentally copied to me. The subject line reads, "Strategy to block Harrison Design's waterfront proposal." The room spins slightly as I open it, scanning words that shouldn't exist. Ensure Kylie's firm doesn't get the contract. Maintain our position. Conflict of interest concerns. "Kylie?" Emma's voice seems distant. "What's wrong?" I lock my phone, forcing a smile that feels like broken glass. "Nothing, everything's perfect." But it's not. In one moment, everything shifts. The pride of tonight's success curdles into something darker, heavier. My husband isn't just absent, he's actively working against me. The realization burns like acid, eating through years of compromise and benefit of the doubt. As the party winds down, I stand alone by the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching city lights flicker like distant stars. My reflection stares back, composed and professional in my black designer dress. But underneath, something has changed. The woman who started this evening no longer exists. My phone buzzes one final time. "Sorry I missed it. Make it up to you this weekend?" I don't reply. Instead, I take a long sip of champagne, letting the bubbles dance on my tongue as I make a decision. If David wants competition, he'll get it. But not the kind he expects. Not anymore. The city sprawls before me, a maze of opportunities and betrayals, and somewhere in those streets, my husband is plotting against me. He doesn't realize he's just started a war he can't win. I delete his message without responding. Tomorrow I'll start gathering ammunition. Tonight I'll let him wonder why his perfectly predictable wife has suddenly gone silent. Emma touches my arm. "Ready to go?" "Almost," I say, finishing my champagne. "I just need to make one quick call to Daniel." "Your lawyer?" Emma raises an eyebrow. "Yes," I reply, my voice steady and cold. "I think it's time for some professional advice." 3 days after the Riverside Hotel unveiling, I sit across from Daniel in his corner office, watching him read through the email chain I'd forwarded. Each click of his mouse feels like a hammer strike against the silence. This is deliberate sabotage, Daniel says finally, removing his reading glasses. And given your marriage, it's particularly concerning. I trace the edge of his mahogany desk. I need to know my options. Legally, several. Personally. He leans back, studying me. That's more complicated. The downtown traffic flows 40 stories below, a river of metal and purpose. I've known Daniel since my first commercial project 5 years ago. He's never seen me like this. Voice steady, hands still, rage simmering beneath a polished surface. My phone lights up. David. Again. I silence it without looking. The waterfront proposal is worth millions, I say, if David's department blocks it. It's not just about the proposal anymore, is it? Daniel interrupts, his tone gentle but firm. Before I can answer, his intercom buzzes. Mr. Wallace, David Harrison is here to see you. The blood drains from my face. Daniel's expression doesn't change, but his hand moves subtly toward his desk phone. Send him in, I say, surprising both of us. This should be interesting. David strides in, immaculate in his charcoal suit. He falters slightly when he sees me, but recovers quickly. Daniel, I didn't expect... Kylie, why aren't you answering your phone? Busy morning, I reply, watching his reflection in the window. How's the urban development project? A muscle twitches in his jaw. That's actually why I'm here. Daniel, we need to discuss potential conflicts of interest regarding Harrison Design's waterfront bid. Fascinating timing, I say, standing slowly. Were you planning to discuss these concerns with me first, or did you prefer going behind my back? Again. David's face hardens. This isn't personal, Kylie. It's business. Everything's business with you lately. I gather my papers, noting how his eyes track my movements. Except when it's personal, like missing the Riverside unveiling. I told you I was working. Yes, I know exactly what you were working on. I pull out my phone, open the email chain. Would you like me to read it aloud? The color drains from his face. For a moment, I see something like fear flicker in his eyes. That email wasn't meant to be seen by me, clearly. I turn to Daniel. I'll need those documents we discussed by tomorrow. Daniel nods, professional mask firmly in place. Of course. At the door, I pause. Oh, and David? Don't wait up tonight. I'll be working late. The words taste like victory and ash. Later, at my office, Emma brings coffee and concern. You're scary when you're calm like this. I stare at the waterfront blueprints spread across my desk. He's been undermining me for months. The missed events, the sudden meetings with my competitors, the accidental leaks about our proposals. What are you going to do? My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. Meeting with the waterfront committee tomorrow. David's department submitted their concerns. It's not good. I show Emma the message. I'm going to do what David taught me. It's just business after all. She sets down her coffee. Kylie, revenge might feel good, but this isn't about revenge. I stand, walking to my office window. It's about survival. He wants to play hardball? Fine. But he forgot something important. What's that? I think about the years I spent supporting his career, making connections, learning the players. I know where all his weak spots are, every single one. My phone rings. David again. This time I answer, keeping my voice professional, distant. Yes? We need to talk about this, he says. Come home early. We'll have dinner. Figure it out. Sorry, I have a meeting. I watch his reflection in my office window, knowing he's doing the same in his. With Sophia, actually. Your assistant. She seemed quite eager to discuss some documentation she's been keeping. The silence that follows tells me everything I need to know. Kylie, his voice drops, almost pleading. Don't do this. Do what? It's just business, David. I end the call, turning to Emma. Call Marcus. Tell him to meet us for drinks. We have some strategy to discuss. The sun sets over the city, painting the sky in shades of amber and blood. Somewhere out there, David is realizing that the quiet, supportive wife he took for granted has disappeared. In her place stands someone new, someone dangerous, someone like him. The flash drive feels impossibly small in my palm, considering the weight of what it contains. Sophia's hands trembled when she handed it to me an hour ago, her voice barely above a whisper in the dimly lit parking garage. There's more, she'd said. So much more than just the waterfront project. I plug it into my laptop alone in my office well past midnight. Files populate the screen, emails, spreadsheets, meeting recordings. 5 years of David's careful manipulation, laid bare in megabytes and metadata. My phone vibrates. David, coming home soon? We need to talk. The cursor hovers over a video file labeled Board Meeting, March 15th. I click play. David's voice fills my headphones. Harrison Design's bid needs to be discredited. I've arranged for some concerns to be raised about their financial stability. But they're one of our most solid contractors, someone objects. Trust me on this. I have my reasons. The date stamp shows this was 3 months ago, right when we lost the Carlton Hotel renovation, the project that would have put my firm on the national stage. My hands shake as I open another folder. More revelations spill out. Doctored reports, strategic leaks to competitors, carefully orchestrated roadblocks, all designed to keep me contained, controlled, unsuccessful. The office door opens. Marcus stands there, looking grave. You shouldn't be seeing this alone. Did you know? My voice sounds strange, distant. About any of this? He sits across from me, pushing a coffee cup forward. I suspected. But this, he gestures at the screen. This is systematic. He's been playing me for years. The coffee tastes bitter. While I defended him to Emma, to everyone. David's just busy. David's under pressure. David needs support. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Sophia. He knows I met you. Be careful. Marcus reads the text over my shoulder. You need to get somewhere safe tonight. I need to confront him. Kylie. No. I stand, gathering my things. I've spent years tiptoeing around his ego, making myself smaller. Not anymore. The drive home feels surreal. Our house glows with warm light, a perfect facade, like everything else in our marriage. David waits in his study, drink in hand. Where have you been? I set my laptop on his desk, open it to the March 15 video. Hit play. The color drains from his face as his own voice fills the room. When he reaches to stop it, I step back. Don't. You don't understand, he says, but his eyes keep darting to my screen. The pressure I've been under to destroy your wife's career must have been terrible for you. He stands, trying to tower over me like he used to. Everything I did was to protect us. This industry, these people, they'll tear us apart if we show any weakness. The only one tearing anything apart is you. I pull out my phone, show him Sophia's text. Your assistant has quite a conscience, it turns out. Sophia? His laugh turns hollow. You think she's helping you out of kindness? Ask her about the Carlton Hotel project. Ask her who really leaked those numbers. The revelation hits like a physical blow. What? She's playing both sides, Kylie. Always has been. He moves closer, voice softening. We can fix this. Together. Like we used to. For a moment, I see the man I married. Charming, persuasive, seemingly sincere. But now I recognize it for what it is. Another performance. You're right about one thing, I say, backing toward the door. This industry will tear you apart if you show weakness. And David? I meet his eyes. You've never looked weaker than you do right now. His mask slips. Something ugly flashes across his face. Don't threaten me, Kylie. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Actually, I say, thinking of the flash drive's contents, I finally do. I leave him standing there, amid the wreckage of his carefully constructed lies. My phone buzzes with another text from Sophia, but I don't open it. I'm done being played by either of them. Tomorrow, I'll start making calls. Tonight, I drive to Emma's, where a spare room and a sympathetic ear await. The city lights blur as tears finally come, but they're not tears of sadness. They're tears of rage, and revelation, and relief. Because now, finally, I know exactly what needs to be done. The morning sun streams through Emma's guest room window as I scroll through the mounting evidence on my laptop. Each click reveals another layer of David's deception, but something isn't adding up. Sophia's revelations feel too neat, too convenient. I dial Marcus. Can you meet me at Riverside Hotel? There's something I need to check. An hour later, we stand in the newly renovated ballroom, my crowning achievement that now feels tainted. Marcus examines the flash drive's contents on his tablet. These financial records, he says, frowning. The timestamps don't match. What do you mean? Look. He points to a series of entries. These modifications to your Carlton bid, they're dated before the files were even created. Someone's been sloppy with their forgeries. My phone buzzes. David. We should talk about Sophia. There's something you need to know. Delete. Who had access to these records? I ask Marcus. That's the thing. He swipes through more documents. These came from internal servers, only senior management and their assistants, I finish, the pieces clicking into place. Pull up the Carlton Hotel leak again. As Marcus searches, the ballroom doors open. Sophia walks in, her heels echoing across the marble floor. I thought I'd find you here. Funny, I say, watching her reflection in the mirrored walls. I was just thinking about you. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Have you shown Daniel the files yet? Not yet. I move closer to Marcus, who's gone very still. Tell me about the Carlton Hotel project, Sophia. David sabotaged it, she says quickly, just like I showed you. See, that's interesting. I pull up an email on my phone. Because I just heard from Carlton's CEO, the leak came from an email address traced to your personal account. Her smile falters. That's impossible. David must have... Stop. My voice cuts through her excuses. You played both sides, fed David information about my projects while pretending to help me. The question is why. She laughs, a harsh sound in the elegant space. You really don't get it, do you? You with your perfect designs and your rising star status. Some of us have to fight for every scrap. By destroying others? By surviving. Her mask slips completely. David promised me a director position if I helped him keep you manageable. But then you started fighting back, and suddenly I had leverage over both of you. Marcus steps forward, but I raise a hand to stop him. Send me the real files, Sophia, all of them, or the board gets proof of your manipulation instead of David's. You wouldn't, but uncertainty creeps into her voice. Try me. I move closer, keeping my voice low. I learned from the best, after all. Both you and David taught me exactly how this game is played. She reaches for her phone, hands shaking slightly. Fine, but David won't let this go. You know that, right? Let me worry about David. After she leaves, Marcus touches my arm. You okay? No. I stare at my reflection, barely recognizing the woman looking back. But I will be. My phone lights up with a new email, the real files from Sophia. As I scan them, my breath catches. David's betrayal runs deeper than I imagined, but now I see the full picture. It's not just about me or my career. There's a pattern of corruption that spans years, involving multiple projects and officials. This is bigger than your marriage, Marcus says quietly. I know. I close my laptop, decision made. Call Daniel, tell him to meet us at his office. And Marcus? I turn to face him. Thank you for believing me when I wasn't sure I believed myself. He nods, understanding the weight of what comes next. What about David? I think of the man I married, the life we built, the lies we both told ourselves. David made his choice long ago. Now I'm making mine. Outside, storm clouds gather over the city skyline. Somewhere across town, David sits in his office, probably thinking he's still in control. He doesn't realize that his carefully constructed world is about to collapse, not just because of what he did to me, but because of what I'm about to do to him. The first drops of rain hit the windows as I leave the hotel, thunder rolling in the distance. A perfect backdrop for what comes next, because this isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about justice. Daniel's office feels like a war room as we spread documents across his mahogany conference table. The real files Sophia provided paint a devastating picture, not just of David's betrayal, but of systematic corruption throughout the urban development department. These kickbacks, Daniel points to a spreadsheet, they're just the beginning. The waterfront project was meant to be your downfall, but it could be his instead. My phone lights up with David's face. Third call today. I silence it just as Emma bursts in, her event planner's composure notably absent. David's calling an emergency board meeting, she says breathless. Tomorrow morning. Marcus checks his tablet. He's moving fast. The timeline shows he shouldn't even know about. A knock interrupts him. Daniel's secretary appears, looking uncomfortable. Mrs. Harrison, there's someone here from the ethics committee. The woman who enters carries herself with the precise authority of someone used to delivering bad news. Mrs. Harrison, I'm Catherine Walsh. We need to discuss your company's bidding practices. The room goes silent. Daniel steps forward, but I raise my hand. Of course, please sit down. We've received allegations of improper conduct regarding several of your recent contracts, she begins, pulling out a familiar-looking document, including evidence that you used insider information to secure the Riverside Hotel renovation. My laugh sounds hollow even to my own ears. Let me guess, the evidence came from urban development? I'm not at liberty to discuss sources. She slides the document forward. But given your husband's position, these allegations are particularly concerning. The paper trembles slightly in my hands, not from fear, but rage. David's countermove is elegant in its simplicity. Discredit me before I can expose him. Ms. Walsh, I say carefully, what would you say if I told you I have evidence of systematic corruption within urban development itself? She raises an eyebrow. That would be a serious allegation. More than allegations. I nod to Daniel, who begins laying out documents. These show a pattern of kickbacks, bid manipulation, and strategic sabotage, all orchestrated by my husband's department. Her professional mask slips slightly as she scans the papers. This is extensive and verified, Daniel adds. We've authenticated everything. My phone buzzes again, this time with a text from Sophia. David knows. He's cleaning house. Be careful. Catherine Walsh stands, gathering the documents. I'll need copies of everything. And Mrs. Harrison? Her eyes meet mine. Watch your back. Cases like this tend to get messy. After she leaves, Emma grabs my hand. What now? Now? I pull up my calendar. We accelerate the timeline. Marcus, call the waterfront committee. I want a meeting today. Kylie, Daniel warns, if we move too fast. David's already moving, I cut him off. He's trying to bury me under ethics violations before I can expose him. I won't give him the chance. My phone rings again, this time an unknown number. When I answer, a familiar voice speaks. Mrs. Harrison? This is James Chen from the Carlton Hotel Board. We need to discuss some irregularities with your previous bid. The walls seem to close in slightly. David isn't just attacking from one angle. He's orchestrating a full assault on my professional reputation. Send everything to my lawyer, I say, then hang up before my voice can betray me. Emma touches my arm. Maybe we should wait, regroup. No, I gather my things, mind racing. David thinks he can erase me, make me disappear under a cloud of investigations and allegations. But he forgot something important. What's that? I pull up a photo on my phone. David and me at last year's Urban Development Gala, both smiling, both lying. I was there for everything, every dinner, every handshake deal, every casual conversation that wasn't casual at all. I didn't just witness his corruption, I documented it. Marcus looks up sharply. The photos? And recordings. I meet their startled gazes. What? You think I spent 15 years married to a manipulator without learning anything? My phone chimes with another text, David again. Come home, we can fix this together, like we always have. I delete it without responding, but my hands shake slightly. Not from fear or doubt, but from the weight of what comes next. Because this isn't just about saving my reputation anymore. It's about burning everything down and seeing what survives the flames. Call the board members, I tell Marcus. All of them. It's time they learned who they've really been working with. The sun sets outside Daniel's office windows, painting the city in shades of fire. Somewhere out there, David thinks he's winning. He doesn't realize he's already lost. He just doesn't know it yet. The Urban Development Charity Gala swirls around me in a blur of designer dresses and forced smiles. Emma outdid herself with the planning. Crystal chandeliers catch every whisper, every sidelong glance. The perfect stage for what comes next. Quite a turnout, David says, materializing beside me. His hand brushes my lower back. A gesture that once meant comfort, now feels like a threat. We should talk. Nothing left to say. I step away, scanning the crowd. Marcus stands near the podium, right on schedule. Daniel mingles with board members, laying groundwork. You have no idea what you're doing, David murmurs, grip tightening on his champagne flute. The ethics investigation is exactly what you wanted. I meet his gaze. Shame it didn't stick. His smile falters. Catherine Walsh from the Ethics Committee appears across the room, deep in conversation with the board chairman. David's eyes track her movement, muscles tensing. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcus calls from the podium. If I could have your attention. David's hand catches my wrist. Don't. I pull away just as Sophia enters, carrying a USB drive that makes David's face drain of color. Everything's falling into place. The evidence, the witnesses, the carefully orchestrated revelations that will destroy him. Then my phone buzzes. The message stops my heart. Got your mother? Home now? End this. David notices my expression. Problems? The room spins slightly. Mom's supposed to be at her book club, safely away from all this. But David's smile tells me everything. He's always been 3 steps ahead. What did you do? My voice sounds distant, strange. Insurance. He sips his champagne. She's fine, for now. But one call from me. Marcus is halfway through his introduction. The board members lean forward, interested. Everything we planned, everyone we positioned, it's all falling apart. You wouldn't, I whisper, but I know he would. The man beside me isn't the one I married. Maybe he never was. Try me. His voice drops lower. You've got 30 seconds to stop this, or should I call my associate? The room blurs at the edges. Emma catches my eye from across the crowd, giving a subtle nod, our signal to proceed. But I can't. Not with Mom. Time's running out, David murmurs. Tick-tock. I raise my hand, catching Marcus's attention. Stop, I say, loud enough to carry. There's been a mistake. The crowd murmurs. Catherine Walsh frowns. Daniel starts forward, but I shake my head slightly. My apologies, everyone. My voice stays steady somehow. It seems there was a misunderstanding about tonight's presentation. David's smile widens. Victory looks ugly on him. The carefully constructed plan crumbles around me as the crowd returns to their conversations, disappointed but not surprised. Just another charity gala, another non-event. Smart choice, David says, but I barely hear him. My phone buzzes again. Emma. What happened? I can't answer. Can't explain how David found my one weakness, the one thing I couldn't sacrifice. Mom, who's been my rock since Dad died, who never questioned my choices even when I married David. The car's waiting, David says. Time to go home. I need to use the restroom. I pull away, legs shaking. 5 minutes. His voice hardens. Then we leave. Together. In the bathroom, I grip the marble counter, staring at my reflection. The woman looking back seems foreign, defeated, trapped. Everything I swore I'd never be again. Emma bursts in. Kylie, what? He has my mother. The words taste like ash. Oh, God. She pulls out her phone. I'll call the police. No. I straighten, mind racing. He'll hurt her first. You know he will. Then what's the plan? I think of the evidence we gathered, the allies we positioned, the perfect trap we set, all useless now. I don't know. My phone buzzes. Time's up. Now. Emma grabs my arm. Don't go with him. We'll figure something out. But we both know we won't. Not in time. Not without risking Mom. Keep the files safe, I tell her. All of them. Promise me. Kylie. Promise. She nods, tears threatening. I squeeze her hand once, then walk out to where David waits, triumphant. The drive home stretches before us like a sentence. You really thought you could beat me? He asks as we leave, his hand possessive on my back. I say nothing. Let him think he's won. Let him believe he's broken me completely. Because now I know exactly what he's capable of, and that changes everything. 3 days after the gala, I sit in our darkened living room, waiting. The grandfather clock strikes midnight just as David's key turns in the lock. Perfect timing. Mom's safely at Emma's beach house, far from his reach. Working late? I ask as he enters. He freezes, hand still on the light switch. Kylie, why are you sitting in the dark? Thinking about the Carlton Hotel project. I stand slowly, and the waterfront development, and all the other deals you've manipulated over the years. The lights flick on. David's expression shifts from surprise to calculation. I thought we settled this at the gala. You mean when you threatened my mother? My laugh sounds foreign, sharp. That wasn't settling. That was a pause. His phone buzzes. The color drains from his face as he reads the message. Problems? I ask, echoing his words from the gala. Maybe it's the ethics committee, or the FBI. They're quite interested in those offshore accounts you've been using. You're bluffing! But his voice wavers. Check your email. He pulls out his laptop, fingers trembling slightly as he types. I watch his face as he reads. Confusion, then shock, then something close to fear. How did you... Sophia wasn't the only one playing both sides. I move closer. Your assistant Tom? Turns out he's been documenting everything for months. Insurance, he called it. I'll deny it all. His jaw clenches. It's your word against mine. Actually, a new voice says from the doorway. Catherine Walsh steps into the light, recorder in hand. It's your words against yours. David lunges for his phone, but I'm faster. Looking for this? I hold up his cell. I already forwarded those threatening messages about Mom to Daniel. He's quite good at getting emergency restraining orders. You don't understand, David says, desperation creeping in. Everything I did was for us, to protect what we built. No. I step back as he reaches for me. Everything you did was because you couldn't stand seeing me succeed on my own. You needed control more than you needed love. His mask finally cracks. You think you've won? I made you. Everything you are is because of me. That's where you're wrong. I nod to Catherine, who moves toward the door. I succeeded despite you, not because of you, and now everyone will know exactly who you are. I'll lose everything, he whispers. Like you tried to make me lose everything? I place his phone on the table between us. The evidence goes public tomorrow. The board, the media, everyone will see what's been happening at Urban Development. He grabs my arm, fingers digging in. Please, we can fix this, together. For a moment, I see the man I married. Charming, ambitious, seemingly sincere. But now I recognize it for what it is. Another performance, another manipulation. Let go, I say quietly. Or what? Or the security team outside comes in. I meet his eyes. Did you really think I'd confront you alone? After what you did? His grip loosens. Something breaks behind his eyes. Not just his control, but his entire carefully constructed reality. You never saw me coming, did you? I step away. All those years you thought I was just watching, supporting, staying quiet. But I was learning. From the best. Catherine clears her throat. Mrs. Harrison, we're ready. David slumps into a chair, defeated. What happens now? Now? I gather my coat. Now you get to experience what you've done to others. The investigations, the whispers, the slow unraveling of everything you've built. Only this time it's real. Kylie, he calls as I reach the door. I did love you, in my way. I pause, hand on the doorknob. I know. That's what makes this tragedy yours, not mine. Outside, the night air feels clean, new. Emma waits in her car, Mom safe beside her. Marcus and Daniel stand with the security team, ready for whatever comes next. My phone buzzes, a message from Sophia. It's done. All the files are with the press. I don't reply. Instead, I look back at our house, at the window where David stands watching. For a moment, our eyes meet across the distance. Then I turn away, leaving him alone with the consequences of his choices. Tomorrow, everything changes, but tonight, finally, I'm free. The morning headlines scream across every news outlet, urban development scandal exposed. I scan the coverage from my new office, watching David's carefully constructed world collapse in real time. My phone hasn't stopped buzzing. Colleagues, competitors, even old friends reaching out with congratulations or condolences, no one quite sure which is more appropriate. I ignore them all, focusing instead on the architectural plans spread across my desk. The waterfront project is mine now, legitimately this time. A knock at the door. He's here, Marcus says quietly. I look up. Through the glass walls, I see David waiting in reception. He's lost weight, his designer suit hanging loose. The media circus has aged him. Send him in. He enters like a ghost of himself, clutching a manila envelope. The divorce papers, he says, placing them on my desk. Signed. I don't touch them. Why are you really here, David? I wanted... He stops, running a hand through graying hair. I needed to understand something. When did you become... this? This? Someone capable of destroying everything we built. Someone like me. The question hits harder than expected. I stand, walking to the window overlooking the city. I learned from watching you. Every manipulation, every calculated move. You were a masterclass in destruction. I never meant... to teach me? No, you meant to control me. I turn back. That was your mistake. He sinks into a chair, suddenly looking old. The board's demanding my resignation. The FBI's investigating. Even my own mother won't take my calls. Karma's efficient that way. Is this what you wanted? To see me broken? The question hangs between us. Outside my office, I see Emma arriving with coffee, our daily ritual now. Beyond her, Marcus reviews designs with our team, life moving forward. What I wanted, I say carefully, was recognition, respect, love without conditions. What I got was a lesson in power. And now you have it all. Bitterness edges his voice. No. I pick up the divorce papers. Now I have myself. That's enough. He stands slowly. There's something else you should know. About the Carlton Hotel project. I know about the offshore accounts and the shell companies. Daniel's handling it. Not that. He pulls out his phone, hands it to me. This. I scroll through emails dating back years. Correspondence showing how my own father, before his death, had tried to warn David about becoming obsessed with success at any cost, about losing himself to ambition. He saw it coming, David says quietly, in both of us. The revelation hits like a physical blow. Dad had known, had tried to prevent this very outcome, and David had kept these warnings hidden all this time. Get out, I whisper. He moves to the door, pauses. For what it's worth, I am sorry. Not for what I did, but for what we both became. After he leaves, I sit alone in my office, watching the city pulse below. Emma enters with coffee, sets it beside me without speaking. Did I become just like him? I ask finally. She considers this. No. You became what you had to become to survive him. There's a difference. My phone buzzes. Catherine Walsh. Board appointment confirmed. Congratulations, Chairwoman. I should feel triumphant. Instead, I feel hollow, like victory has carved something essential from me. The waterfront groundbreaking is next week, Emma says gently. Want company? I think of David's words about Dad, about what we both became, about power and its price. Yes, I say, turning from the window. But first, I need to make a call. I dial a number I haven't used in months. It rings twice. Mom? I'd like to come over. There's something I need to tell you about Dad. As I gather my things, I catch my reflection in the window. Successful, powerful, alone. But unlike David, not quite lost. Not if I choose differently now. Outside, the city stretches endlessly, full of possibilities and pitfalls. I've won everything I thought I wanted, but Dad's hidden warnings echo in my mind. Perhaps the real test isn't in winning or losing, but in what we choose to do with victory once we have it. I pick up the divorce papers, my signature joining David's. One chapter ending, another beginning. This time I'll write it differently. This time I'll write it for myself.